Hey guys, so welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. So when Alfa Romeo rebooted their brand back in 2015 after a 20-year absence from the US market, the first model that they introduced was the 4C sports car. And if you watched my other videos before, you guys will know that I currently own a 4C Spider. Their next model was this one, the Giulia Sports Sedan, and this one in particular is their high horsepower machine designed to compete with the likes of BMW M3 and Mercedes C63S. The first thing you notice about the Giulia Quadrifoglio, or QV, is how much more aggressive it looks compared to the base Giulia. Let's start out with the front. You've got these air vents on the hood. Moving over to the side, you get more vents here on the side. And I just love these carbon fiber side skirts here. And they've really designed it in a way that makes the car look so wide, so aggressive, and it's just beautiful. We got on this particular vehicle the optional $8,000 carbon ceramic brakes, and I'm going to really talk about these later on because I've heard so many reports that how these brakes are horrible and you know, how they squeak and squeal. That has not been my case, so I will get into that later. Moving towards the back, we have this aggressive carbon fiber rear spoiler. In the back, this massive diffuser with the beautiful quad exhaust tips. And overall, this car is just absolutely stunning. You park this next to a M3 or a C63S, man, it'll put both of those cars to shame. This just is a beautiful, beautiful car. Alright, so now we're taking a look at the heart of the beast. What you're looking at right here is the Ferrari-derived V6 engine, which, as we all know, probably comes straight out of the California T with 2 less cylinders so that it could fit underneath this hood. Not really that exciting to look at in my opinion, especially compared to those Ferrari engines, but still interesting to look at, I guess. And if we come to the side, you see that the engine is actually mounted just right behind the front axles, really making this a mid-front engine car. Alright, now let's take a look at the interior of the Alfa Romeo Giulia QV. One of the things that really surprised me about this car was just how comfortable being inside is. Let me close the door so it will stop being annoying. So getting into the Giulia QV, it's basically the same design and layout as the regular base Giulia. But of course, you know, your engine stop button is going to be red for some extra excitement. And overall, just a very comfortable place to be. I love these Alcantara seats, especially the bolstering right here. They really hug you well in place when you're making those tight corners. One thing I will point out is, as many have already, this infotainment system absolutely sucks. I really don't use it for anything except to play music from Bluetooth. And this car also has the optional hardened carbon sound system, and it definitely sounds really, really good. But the downside is, you know, if you're going to be driving this car the way that it's intended to, you want to really just have nothing in the car, roll your windows down a little bit, and hear that beautiful exhaust note coming from the back. So now we're gonna go for a drive in the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. So I test drove this car a few months ago, and you know, I really didn't walk away all that impressed with the car. But now that I've had it for a few days and I get to drive it the way that I want to, I'm really starting to become attached to this car, because you can actually have an awful lot of fun with it just on everyday streets. And we're now approaching one of my favorite winding roads. I'm just gonna let these cyclists pass so I can get on my way here. But here we go. Hopefully there's no policemen out here. And right off the bat, that acceleration, oh my god, it just sounds so good. The grip is so good. You have total confidence going through these corners. It's an absolutely amazing machine. That sound, the speed, everything just comes together. And these brakes, people have been bitching about these brakes in just about every video. They say that the brake-by-wire has no feeling, is the carbon ceramics, they squeak and squeal, and all of that is just not true. You know? I can stop on a dime, the brakes make no sound. These are probably some of the best brakes that I have experienced. So I don't know if other people just got unlucky and maybe they received a car with bad brakes installed on them, but my gosh, they are magical. Gosh, this car is just so much fun. So far I've been talking about what I really liked about the Giulia QV. But what are some of the things that that I think are shortcomings of this car? Well, if I had to pick a thing or two, let me first begin with the infotainment system, because it is absolutely garbage. It's super laggy. It's not the most intuitive to use. And overall, I think they just should have used the infotainment straight out of Jeep products or Maserati, the system that they have, the Uconnect system, instead of having spent all the money and time to develop their own infotainment. But by the same token, I think this really shows you how serious Alfa Romeo was taking their renaissance here in the US, because they practically developed everything from the ground up. Another gripe I have with the car is, even for a car of this caliber, I think the fuel consumption is very poor. I've pretty much had to fill it up every day. Every day that I've had this car, I had to fill it up at the pump. And the gas tank isn't all that big. I think it's like 12, 13 gallons. So, you know, it's 1 gallon really doesn't get you very far, especially if you drive it the way that it was intended to be. And lastly, you know, creature comforts like lack of a sunroof, you know, the storage on the sides of the doors, you know, you can't really put anything in it. And I've already talked about how the seats don't fold back in the back, but you know, those are just me nitpicking. And obviously the reason why you buy this car is because it drives like a proper Italian sports sedan. The Giulia Quadrifoglio is an excellent all-around super sedan. It can go really, really fast when you need it to, but it can also be very civilized and very docile when needed be. So I guess the question comes down to, should you buy one? Well, my personal opinion is that you should, but don't buy a new one. Buy a used one instead, because depreciation has not been friendly to this car. You can get very lightly used models now for almost 50% off. That's an insane amount of depreciation, and you just don't want to be throwing money out of the window. So in sum, if you have about 50 grand to spend and you're looking for a comfortable yet super fast 4-door sedan, the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio should definitely be at the top of your list.